with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me. You could be around with me. You could be with anyone. I could be with anyone. You're here with me. You're here with me.
Let's get it. All right, guys. So here's an interesting letter that was sent to my email box. MyTakeOnRealityQuestions at gmail.com. This is something that came in, and it's very interesting. It's asking, or at least stating, that this young lady's parents want her to beg for her ex-boyfriend to take her back. Let's take a look at it, and we'll give our take along the way, or at least I'll give my take along the way. Let's go. Hi, James. I am a female, 21 years old. I dated a guy 21 years old for about 10 months. At first, our relationship was pretty great. That's awesome. And it should be great at first. Because if it's horrible at first, then that should be the end of it. But, you know, that's due course. So I'll respect there. He took me on dates. He put in an effort to do nice things for me. He communicated well, and all the things you would want a boyfriend to do. That's okay. And that's one of the trappings of it, is that when relationships start, you are really introduced to the representative of that person. You aren't really getting a full feel or taste or texture of the person that you're actually dating. You're getting the person that they present themselves to be as they put forward their best foot. They want to give you a good impression of who they are, so they're opening doors and all those kind of things. And these are things that you want to look for as far as consistency over time. You want to make sure that the things that they start doing, they continue to do, because that lets you know if that's something that is within them to do and the person that they are, or if this is just somebody who they pretended to be in order to get your attention, get your affection, and to ingratiate themselves to you. So, you know, that's kind of where that is. But let's continue. He moved away for college about 5 months into the relationship. Okay, that happens. His house was a 3-hour drive that I would make almost every weekend. Young love. Like, I'm ready to put the miles on the car, baby. And then as you get older, be like, I'm not even trying to cross the street. But okay. They would spend the night and then would leave so that I could be back for classes the next day at my school. I worked. I'm from a working class family, and I started working as soon as it felt comfortable enough to drive myself to work, which was around 18 because of the vid, the 1-9, that and I flunked my driver's test multiple times, but we won't talk about that. Shit happens. Okay, not everybody bangs it out on the first try. I was taking 7 classes. Okay, wow, super load. For those who don't know, in college, usually you get about 5 classes. That's a full-time schedule. Technically, 4 classes would be a full-time schedule for most schools, but 5 classes are pretty standard. 7 classes, that's a heavy load. That's a heavy load. It's a lot of work on that. Okay, so hats off to you. Tink. I was taking 7 classes, worked weekends, and putting myself through school. Okay, hard working. Gotta respect that. He was born into money, so he don't know nothing about the grind. And trying to explain it to him is like speaking Klingon to this dude. Like, you have no idea what it's like to have to go to work. You go to work because you want to go to work. It's something fun to do after school. He was born into money. I think the longest he held a job was 6 months. And he didn't have a job for the majority of our relationship outside of being a rideshare driver. So he was pretty much doing stuff that he wanted to do when he wanted to do it. And he's not. And there is a fundamental difference between working a job because you want to work a job and working a job because you have to work a job. There is a distinct difference. And a lot of times that distinct difference can be best illustrated with how much or how little dumb shit are you willing to put up with while you're working. If you really, really need this job, then your tolerance for stupidity is extremely high. You're willing to put up with a whole lot of crap. You're willing to eat it up. Whereas if you don't really need this job, first time they look at you funny, be like, oh, that's it, I'm late, I'm out of here. Tom, you came in 2 hours late. Oh, okay, well, you ain't gonna tell me what to do, sucker. You ain't trying to run my life. He was in school for some of the relationship, but had to drop out due to his GPA. Okay, so he wasn't really, and that's, again, that could be a thing too. there's a saying that I like. A guy said, I'm the generation that made the money. That's the generation that spent the money. When you're on the grind trying to come up, you understand the importance of everything you do. So if you're going to work to pay for school, you understand that every hour that you spend at work is building and contributing to your future. And so when you working and you're paying for your own school, then you're trying to get the best job, best grades you can, because one, you're not trying to repeat anything because you're paying for it yourself. And two, when you're earning it and you're working it and you're slaving and you're trying to make it happen for you, you tend to appreciate it a little more. If somebody gives you something, you tend to take it for granted. And so if his parents are basically paying for his school and he doesn't have to worry about school, then he can sit there and hang out. After he dropped out that first time, a major shift happened in our relationship. I felt like I was doing so much work and it just didn't make sense how he couldn't just flunk. Like, so your major flaw was the fact that, like, I'm putting so much into this education. I'm slaving, I'm breaking my back. I'm dealing with a bunch of ninnies and nimrods at the job. People talking crap to me all the time. I'm here, going places I don't want to go. I would love to just go home and study, and that's all I have to worry about. But I can't do that because I have to pay for all this. And this guy is getting it for free, and he's taking it for granted. And that would hurt somebody who is working for everything that they get, and they're clawing and scraping and trying to achieve it in order to make it happen. And this other person just getting it handed to them, and they don't see the benefit of the fortunate situation that they're sitting in. So I can understand that creating a little bit of tension. I remember getting very angry. I just didn't understand. His parents, who I love very much, were, from my point of view, very understanding about it and said that they were still willing to pay for college and all bills if he could get his grades up. So even then, the funny part is, you have one person who is fighting, gripping, and saving and trying to do the best they can so that they can have a minimum of stuff. A person with a multitude of things, everything being provided to them, and they're still saying, okay, even though you messed that up, I'm still willing to pay for you to go back to school. And he's like, I don't care. I just want to hang out with my buddies. If that were my parents, I'd be homeless in a heartbeat and probably disowned, LOL. Yeah, I feel you. I'm in that same boat. He kind of made me resentful how good he had it and how he treated it like nothing. Because he didn't have any value in it, because he wasn't putting anything to it, or he didn't contribute to it. He didn't see the value of what he had. He's taking it for granted. Money was just a fact of life for him and a constant. As things went on, being in a semi-long distance relationship, he got distant and wouldn't text back for a while. But he always made time with his friends. I did not have time to hang out with his friends because of my workload and the fact that I was driving 6 hours a weekend, there and back combined, to see him. Wow, he still made you drive? Holy shamoly. If he's off and he doesn't have anything going on and he doesn't have anything really to do, and technically you're a driver for a living, you can't drive to go see your girlfriend instead of having her drive the other way to see you. I mean, technically, if it was like that, he could have did the considerate thing where if you lived at home with your parents and you guys were already spending the night together, and I'm assuming other things were happening, he very well could have did the whole rideshare thing so that he would have enough money to be able to pay for gas, pay for the trip, and then pay for a hotel and pay for you guys' weekend while you guys were down there. And he would have the rest of the week, to just chill and hang out with his buddies and do whatever he wanted to do because he doesn't have anything else going on. This is a point of consideration, and where he's not taking you into consideration. So that should be something that you look at and something that you consider as you're thinking about dealing with this dude. He never said I had to cut off any of my friends, but in a way, I had to so that I could make time for him. Yeah, of course, because if you are driving 6 hours both ways so that you can see him, and you're spending the weekend with him, and when you're not with him, you're at school or you're at work, then yeah, that kind of limits your ability to hang out with your friends by nature of design. So he didn't have to tell you not to hang out with your friends because it was just kind of built into the system at that point. Okay, in hindsight, I know this isn't healthy, but I just wanted all the time I could get with him while we were together. And that's typical with girlfriends and boyfriends. They want to spend as much time with each other. I get that. And I made any time I could by sacrificing my friendships with others. He did not work and did not visit me often, so he never dealt with this and had plenty of time for friends who were girls. So, okay, so he's hanging out with a bunch of ladies. And that's kind of weird, too, that it sounds like he's making a lot of time to make himself available for a lot of females that he's calling friends, but he's not really, again, taking you into consideration. So it's not even so much a point of being jealous that he has girlfriends or friends who are girls or whatever the case may be. It's just about how he's treating you. And there's a point. I remember it wasn't that long ago. Actually, I was getting in a car, and me and my wife, we went to go get some pizza or whatever. And I got out. It was raining, so we got some takeout pizza. And I got out, got the pizza, came back, got in the car. When I got in the car, she said, "Thank you." And I was like, what for what? What'd I do? And she said, "Thank you." Because I was just watching this guy with his, what looks like his wife and his daughter. And when he went back to the car, it was raining. He opened up his car door, got in his car door, set himself up, and had those ladies standing out in the rain. And she said to me, and I didn't even really think about it because it's just what I would do. But she said, you know, when I think about you, you would never have let me stand out in the rain. You would have went around the car and opened up the door for me and our daughter, and then you would have walked back around the car, and she would open the car door for me. That's kind of how we roll. Like, so I opened the door for her, let her in the car, close the door behind her, not because of I'm a man and but she's my lady, and that's what she deserves, that respect. So that's what I do. And she would open the door for me because that's what she does, and that's how she just contributes. So we do that for each other all the time. But I don't think about it. It's not something that I consider or I would think about. But that's just something she said, because in that moment, what she was acknowledging was, you know, I appreciate the fact that we consider each other. And in this particular case, what you're talking about isn't so much that he's spending time with these other girls, or he's not coming to see you, and the thing is, or you're going to see him. What you're upset about, it sounds like to me, is the fact that he's not taking you into consideration. And that should be something that should happen. And that should be something that you should expect in your relationships. And I hope you would expect in your relationships, because that's what I would hope that my daughter would expect in her relationships. He hung out with his group of girls that I introduced him to, okay? They were going to the same college he was and living 5 minutes away, and ended up getting really close to my ex and didn't talk to me at all since they moved. This, naturally, was a recipe for disaster. To have my friends move right next to my boyfriend, cut me off, and start being friends with him and not me. Wow. Okay. That's a little, yeah. I was going crazy. I wouldn't I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt that. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're not comfortable with it, again, this isn't where you would come out. You could say something to him, and this is where it gets kind of tricky. And this is where it's more art than it is rule. If you feel like this is something that you want to address and you want to talk to him about, then you talk to him about it. You make your feelings known and you express yourself. And then once you've expressed yourself, you assess what his response is. So if his response is, "Girl, you stupid. I'm going to do what I want to do. You can't tell me what to do. Freedom." Then you have to assess that. I'm not saying that relationship over. But you just have to take that into consideration. Again, that word again, consideration. Anytime he would hang out with these girls, I would just cry. I felt so violated. I asked him if there was any way that he could hang out with them less, because their behavior made me kind of uncomfortable, being that they only talked to him and not me. He said no. So again, you had that conversation. So you checkmate. You've bested me. You did what I was thinking, that this is a conversation that you would have, and you received your answer. You said that this is something or behavior that doesn't make me feel comfortable. Let's have a conversation about it. This is the point where I'm at. I want you to do this less. And he said, "I don't care what you think. I'm going to do what I want to do." And this is And I hate to say this, but this is kind of lockstep with the previous attitudes and beliefs that you had talked about before, where he was in school and he had a feeling of entitlement. He feels entitled to be able to deal with and associate with whoever he wants to, however he wants to, and not have to deal with the consequences of said association. This is that point where I'm not saying that you can't hang out with who you want to hang out with. I don't chase nobody around. I don't chase anybody around. So I don't go back and go through my lady's phone. I don't do none of that. Because I always take the position that I want you to have full freedom to make whatever decision you want to make. But once you make your decision, I'm going to start making my decision. And that's where I'm going to start making my choices. So if this is what you feel like you're free to do what you want to do, but it's what you do with your freedom that is the groundwork for me to be able to make what assessments and choices for my life I need to make. I was going crazy. Anytime he would hang out with these girls, I would just cry. I felt so violated. I asked him if there was any way he could hang out with them less because their behavior made me kind of uncomfortable. I said that maybe us all hanging out while I was visiting him would make me feel better about their friendship. And that's completely reasonable. Wow, you are a super reasonable girlfriend. He didn't want me to hang out with them. And that's a huge red flag. That's a huge red flag. Let me stop right there. Look, if you have a significant other, there shouldn't be anybody in their life that they can go hang out with that you can't sit there and hang out with. If it's such a concern that this person might be hostile, volatile, violent, they could be, there's something going on, or whatever the case may be, and that's on like the, I'm not doing nothing, that's just them fronts. Right? If they're all those things, then maybe you shouldn't be hanging out with them either. Maybe you should have better, be more conscious about who you spend time with. But if you're hanging, especially like people that they potentially could be attracted to or have relations with, and you say, hey, well, I'm going to go hang out with my friends from work. I'm going to go hang out with some girls from school. I'm going to go hang out with my girl buddies. And you say, well, let me come too. What are you guys doing? We're going to go get pizza. I like pizza. Well, after we eat pizza, we're going to go bowling. I like bowling. Well, I don't want you to go. Why not? Why can't I go? Why can't I go hang out? If all you're doing is innocently hanging out, why can't I like hanging out? We can hang out. We don't even have to go out and be all lovey-dovey all over each other and all that couple stuff. We could just go out and hang out and just hang and have fun amongst friends because these are supposed to be your friends. And that would be a first indicator to me that something more is going on. And I'm not even saying that something more is going on. The fact that I can't prove that he's cheating, and maybe he's not cheating, but the fact that he doesn't take your feelings into consideration, the fact that he's trying to keep you isolated, the fact that these people are so important to him that he has more consideration for them and spending time with them than he does for you, those would be strong indicators for me. That would be all I need. I don't have to catch you cheating. I don't have to come in and catch you in the full throes of the boozed while doing back work for me to say that the relationship is over. I don't need that. Okay? That's too much. And besides, do you really need that burnt into your brain? No. If you're not taking me into consideration, I feel like you're not being considerate of me, and you're not being considerate of my time, and you're not being appreciative of my presence, and you don't want me around, then I have to make those choices. So let's read on, because it sounds like you might be on the same page. Every time we would have an argument about his female friends, it would end up with him trying to break up with me. Oh, see, right there. Sorry I'm stopping so much, but this letter is jam-packed. It's action-packed. If I despise the notion or idea that every time something goes wrong and you're having a relationship with somebody, it always ends up with, the hell with it, the relationship is over. Because if I break up with somebody, I mean to break up with them, and there's no coming back for the most part. Like, I don't really do a whole lot of recidivism. Like, we don't come back after that. Like, there's no, repeat offenders. I'm pretty much done. Because keep in mind that there's a reason why we broke up, because I take breakups very serious. it's serious business to me. So if I utter the words that I don't think we should see each other anymore, I mean that. When you tell people that you're going to break up with them every 5 seconds, it loses the impact. It doesn't mean anything. And then when you finally do, you are finally serious enough to say, look, if this continues, I'm going to discontinue the relationship. You already threatened them so much that it doesn't mean anything. And they don't really take that threat serious. And so when you say it, it's just something you say. And the behavior or whatever is just going to continue. So finally things came to a head when one of his female friends painted his nails after I'd been begging him to let me paint them for months, and he said no. So he's letting these ladies do things for him that he wouldn't let you do even though you asked him to do it. Wow. Okay. All right. I confronted him about it, and he said he had no memory of me asking him. I don't remember that. I don't remember. I don't recall that. Yeah, he don't recall. Well, you remember. so I'm like, you don't remember. He doesn't remember. You recall. So whose memory should we trust? I remember asking you. I remember you saying no. You're saying you don't remember. So unless you're going to say that I'm an outright bold-faced liar, then this is what happened. We'll just take my word for it because, like I said, I remember it happening. And that's kind of where that is. I get that. No, I don't like it, but I get it. And she went on to say it was a month before this argument, but still, okay, it doesn't matter whether it was months, days, or weeks. You remember, he doesn't remember. I asked if he was going to continue getting his nails painted by these girls, and he said yes. That it just made him feel like himself and feel better. That I needed to deal with it. I don't need to deal with shit. I'm sorry, you done got me messed up, bro. You got me confused. I don't have to deal with nothing. You know what I mean? You have to deal with it. I don't have to deal with anything. I don't need to deal with anything. I don't need you. That's the whole point. Like, I choose to be with you. And that's where I'm a big proponent of, too. Like, relationships are choices. Every day I wake up as a daily choice. It's a daily choice that I make to stay in my relationship. And it's a daily choice she makes to stay with me. Because I'm not sitting up here saying that I'm the most easiest person in the world to get along with. I know I have my flaws and you know, sometimes I rub it the wrong way. She look at me when I'm sleeping and be thinking about, you know, cutting my arrow. I get it. Shit happens. Right? That probably doesn't get to that point, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, it's a choice. Every day you decide to be there. It's not a thing of need. I wouldn't, and be honest with you, off top, I wouldn't want to be with somebody who needed to be with me. I want to be with people who want to be with me. Because if you need to be with me, then you're not really with me because you're with me. You're with me because of the need that you have. Something that I provide, some provision I give, which gives you the purpose to be with me. I want you to make the choice to be with me. So you need to deal with it. That's just a cop-out. That's him trying to tell you that him taking you for granted, which is also another big mistake. So we're looking at consistency, we're looking at consideration, and we're looking at taking you for granted. Mistake. We had a huge argument. I left to go home. We didn't speak for 3 days. He acted like everything was fine and texted me updates about his life like nothing had ever happened. So this dude is crazy. He insulted me the night I left, calling me a brat. And after I told him I wasn't going to be spoken to that way and he needed to apologize to me, he dumped me over text. Okay, there's your sign. He dumped you over text. Okay, cool. You are right. He was right. You don't have to put, you were both right. You said to him that you're not going to stand here and allow him to treat you that way. He's basically said, if you're not going to let me treat you that way, then I don't want to be with you. And he let you go. Okay, fine. That is what it is. I'm not going to let you treat me that way. You're not going to let me treat you that way? Then I don't want to be with you. I can't abuse you, mistreat you, treat you like shit, take you for granted, not consider your feelings, not consider your time, not consider your emotions. Don't give a damn how you feel about certain things that are happening within our relationship. You're not going to let me do whatever I want to do, then I don't want to be with you. Okay. Sounds good. Anyways, I told my parents all about this and let them know that it didn't work out. I also let them know that I was dating casually again not too long after we broke up, just to meet new people and see how I felt. Nothing wrong with that. Get yourself back out there as long as you take time for yourself to make sure that you are putting yourself back together and getting over that situation you were in so you don't carry that baggage into your next relationship and have them answering for a lot of the mistakes that your previous boyfriend made. So there's nothing wrong with you getting back out there and making yourself, reacquainting yourself with being social. My parents were livid. Okay, that's all right. They were very close to my ex. I brought up how he didn't take me on dates anymore. They said if I wanted dates so bad that I could pay. Okay. I said that I didn't feel comfortable with other girls painting his nails that used to be my friends at all, that I introduced him to. And they said that I was being too hard on him. I said that I didn't like driving 3 hours every weekend and how he should come visit me. They said that I should be grateful that he even wanted me to come over. I said that I didn't like how he didn't make his own money. They said that his college must be very hard and he must have a lot going on. He took 4 classes and I was taking 7. It sounds like that the parents were looking at the life that he possibly could provide you because seeing the place where he was from. And, you know, they kind of put it together in their minds, their expectations of things that they could see going forward and things happening and the life and lifestyle that you could be living. Wow, he's a good guy because he comes from a family and they have money and they could take care of her and she would be, doors would be open for her and this, that, and the other. But they're not looking at the relationship for what it is and how he's treating you, how you feel about the relationship. If you're not, everything aside, like I get everything that you said and I'm not trying to invalidate anything that you said as far as how he treated you. I think that those are your experiences. You need to reflect on them, assess them, and make decisions based on how you felt about those assessments, how you feel and arrive to those assessments. I will say this though, when it comes to relationships, especially as young as you guys are, 21 years old, and you're early and you guys are just starting out, if you're not feeling somebody, meaning that if things just aren't working out, there's no reason as to why, he's a great guy, he does everything, and a wonderful person, nice and kind, and, he does everything right, he's driving 3 hours, and he's doing a lot of this stuff, and you just aren't feeling him, there's nothing wrong with you saying, you know what, this isn't working out, and you're just not what I want. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you breaking up with people for no reason. You don't have to have a in-ground, he mistreated me. I was violated. How he victimized me. And that's why we broke up. You don't have to have a story like that. We just wasn't working out. I wasn't feeling the relationship. And I decided to move on. We had different values. We came from different places. He didn't have the type of values or mindsets that I valued. And I couldn't move forward with that. Bottom line is, we just weren't happy together anymore. I told my parents that it would be very unlikely that I wanted to see him again and I would be seeing other people instead. Their bright idea, driving 3 hours to his home to beg him to work this out with me. What? They said that once I saw him, all of our feelings and love would come back, rushing back, and we would work everything out and be happy again. And maybe you can swim up on top of a rock and the water will splash on your back because you're living in a magic mermaid world. Princess Yeah, that's not how things work. Because to be honest with you, he might already be seeing some other people. Just like you're going out and seeing other people, he may have been curious about some of the friends you introduced him to. And they were waiting for that opportunity. Because you know how it is sometimes when folks have... They always say it about guys, like male friends are always kind of that junk in a glass, that if something happens with the young lady's boyfriend or whatever, you break that glass and you got that dude sitting there who is just a friend. Now all of a sudden he wants to be more than friends and they're dating. Women do the same thing. They put themselves in a position where they're around for a guy that they might be attracted to, laugh and make themselves super cool and fun and everything else, and they become everything that his girlfriend isn't, so that way when his girlfriend breaks up with him, got this super cool girl and they just start hooking up and everything is great and grand. Especially, I remember in college, a lot of people I knew, especially in long distance relationships, I know a lot of people like that. We love each other so much, it's so amazing. But most of them didn't last the second semester of their freshman year. They come in with the boyfriend and girlfriend from college, or from high school. They don't even last to the second semester before they broke up. It's weird to me that the parents are heavily invested in this gentleman, and it might not just be the gentleman per se as much as his status. Okay, because if he was little Johnny from next door and he was working the same job you were working and working the same way you working to be in school and stay in school, would they care? And the exemplar I would use that this might be the case, because you said that you had already started going out on dates and already started socializing with other folks. And I'm assuming that you're associating with people who are close to you or near you. And they're looking at this situation and saying, no, but they're not Thomas. So it very well could be his status. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Put it in the My Take section and let me know if I'm wrong, or send me an email and let me know if I'm wrong. I'm kind of curious, but I think that might be it. I wish this was a joke. I feel bad for you. I wish that you had the support of your folks. I do. I try not to get too involved with who my kids are dating, yeah or nay. Because if you like them and they don't like them, it doesn't matter whether I like them or not. I don't have to date them, But at the same time, if I don't like them and you can't date them, all of a sudden I turn them into Romeo and Juliet. You know what I mean? So that could be problematic in itself too. They got very close to my ex. This is the first guy I brought home long term. And I understand being upset, but telling me to turn up at his house and beg for him back is insane. And I agree with that. That is insane. Especially, here you go. Ask him to go with you. Ask him to go with you. Just go on a random ass Friday night or Saturday night. Especially if go when you know that your girlfriends, the friends that you used to hang out with, go maybe that morning, like that Saturday morning, that Sunday morning over to his house. Ring his doorbell and watch one of them girls answer the damn door. And then you just have them explain it to him. Well, my parents wanted to talk to you. They had something to say to you. Excuse me, Betty, could you step out the way? Mom, Dad, would you guys mind putting on clothes? Thank you. I want them to stop hurting me with details of our breakup and instead let me focus on dating new people. I just want them to come to terms with it so that I can heal. What's your take? Here's my take. And here's what I was saving. When I was a young man, story time, there was a young lady I knew, and her parents had a lot of money, right? So much so that she took that for granted. So she didn't really focus on her own empire building. Like, she wasn't trying to build her own estate. She wasn't out trying to work and hustle and make money and try to make good decisions, because she knew that her parents had money. In fact, when she got married, she married herself a person. The relationship didn't work out. She didn't worry about saving money or putting money aside, because she knew that her parents were going to pay for her son to go to school. Then it was the crash of 2008. I'm going to show my age. It was the crash of 2008. And her parents lost their shirts. They lost everything. When I say everything, they lost everything. And that put her in a situation where she was confronted with the reality that now anything that she wanted to get in life, any guarantees that she wanted to make as far as her well-being and her future, she had to ensure for herself. And she didn't know what to do. She was shell-shocked. And it's kind of where this gentleman is. And I shade that in to this particular story in this way. Would your parents be as, rock solid? You have to, no matter what, if you have to drive 3 hours, crawl through 3 miles of glass on your hands and knees and beg this man to take you back, then that's what you better do, girl. Would they have that same position and that same vigor if this guy's family lost everything? Like if they lost all the money and the only thing that was left was his resolve and his will to make a better life for himself, and we see what kind of work ethic he's working with, would they be okay with you dating him? Would they be okay with you dating a guy who you meet at school, who all he wants to do is play video games, he's failing out of school, and maybe he'll drive Uber once a week, but he just want to sit on his, in the basement of his parents' house or on a couch or his buddy's houses or whatever. Eventually he wants to move in with you so that he can sit in your house while you're out working and taking care of the bills and everything. He's just going to sit in your house and play video games. Would your parents say, if you guys got into an argument because he wasn't driven and motivated to do anything for himself, would your parents say, you better not break up with him? You better go beg for him back and apologize for how you talk to him. Don't disrespect him. I bet you they wouldn't. Now, again, you can let me know down below or you can send me a follow-up email and let me know if I'm right or wrong. I'm just curious. But these are my suspicions. And aside from all that stuff, I give you credit, young lady. And the reason I give you credit is because you recognize that there's more to life than a dollar. You value yourself more than you value stuff and materialism. Then you value status. You invest in yourself and you're taking your future into your own hands. You're trying to craft your own life, and I give you credit for that. That's a strong suit. That's a strong position. To be honest with you, if I looked at it, that, my friend, is wifey material. When you're looking for a mate, if you're a hustler and you're looking for somebody to be with and pair off with, you want somebody with the mindset that you have, where you're willing to go in, you're willing to work and do what's necessary, take 7 classes if you have to, take a full ride and go to work and provide for yourself because you're trying to make it happen. That's somebody that if you meet another like-minded hustler, y'all two can take the world over. You can make it happen. But if you meet somebody who takes everything for granted because things are just supposed to be the way they want it, because that's the way things always happen, because mama and papa made us sure I was always taken care of. If you have somebody like that, then the chances that you're going to surpass the positions that even his parents achieved are very unlikely. Now, I'm not saying that, the world is the way the world is. Sometimes, evil and stupid doesn't necessarily mean failure. And sometimes it just means success. Like, okay, I'm lazy as hell, but my parents have a ton of money, and all I did was let the money sit in the bank, and it just money makes money, so I'm okay. Sometimes that happens. But you don't have to sacrifice who you are. You don't have to sacrifice your dignity. You don't have to sacrifice your hopes and dreams, aspirations. You don't have to sacrifice your happiness so that you can be with somebody who isn't contributing and investing in you and your relationship at the same level, equal or greater than what you're putting into it. Let me know what you guys think. Help this young lady out. Give her your perspective. Give her your take down below. Thank you so much for writing again. That's MyTakeQuestions, MyTakeOnRealityQuestions at gmail.com. Thank you guys so much. That's My Take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.